So the ADHD thing, so I was diagnosed as a kid too.
Yeah.
Like when I was like, whatever, third grade, but I just never really, I just was like, well, I mean, obviously I liked Adderall.
Yeah.
That was my like drug of choice. But when I've been looking at it lately, and did you realize that ADHD is basically you run on lower dopamine than everyone else?
I definitely have OCD, like OCD to the max. Like my organization and like the way I compartmentalize things is just like, it's black and white. Like it has to be done. Like I could not come here this morning without my place being like organized before I left. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went in and my primary doctor, who I've seen forever, you know, because I didn't ever want to take Adderall or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he ran these tests. I think they came out of like Vanderbilt or something. I'll have to fact check that.
Right.
And he was like, dude, you're like in the 98th percentile. And he was like, I don't know how you haven't been prescribed anything.
Yeah.
But the thing that I tell people about it is that when I was younger, I kind of found ways to like hide it, like to be perceived as normal, but on the inside, it just felt like a pinball was just going back and forth in my brain, you know.
Yeah.
And so, in ways that's driven me like positively, and in other ways it can like stifle me.
Yeah, like, well, it's a gift. The thing that I'm realizing is, because I've seen how you operate. Obviously, we're friends and working together and all those years, but the thing I notice about me is because you run on low dopamine, I struggle in my head, and I all day long I'm kind of looking for dopamine hits, whether that's the good ones are like going and reading and scenery or exercise. And, you know, when I get into those, chasing those dopamine hits, life's pretty good.
Music.
Like,
music is the big one for me because I have music on constantly all day. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I'm kind of like the newer age version of like a vinyl head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I get up in the morning and I just immediately put on whatever I feel like listening to. Lately, leading up to this, it's been Eminem all day, every day.
Me too, bro.
To stir up the creative juices. But, you know, music, it does give you kind of like that dopamine hit, and it also it just organizes my day. Like as soon as I put it on, it kind of just gives me the initiative to do the next thing. You know what I mean?
I went and saw that, by the way.
I know. I saw your story. Was it good?
Bro, it's so sick. It's different than you think. It's about his fans.
Yeah.
So like it's called Stans, but he got a group of fans, and they talk about their experience, and they kind of tell the story. He's in it, obviously, but like it's a lot of his fans. It's pretty dope. Again, one of the main reasons why I've always loved Eminem is the way that he plays the game. It's the way, you know, first off, he's in recovery, so he got sober. Everyone knows that. And then obviously the way he wrote about addiction and writes about addiction is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and gets it to, like, I don't know if anybody through any book that you've ever read on addiction or anything, it's like he wrote the best about it and made it rhyme. Like nobody describes it better than that dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And another thing, I had actually sent you the reel on it, but you know, when you're looking at his discography, he's written a matching album to every album, basically.
Yeah.
So when you look at like, you know, Slim Shady, okay, so, you know, but then you look at the Marshall Mathers LP, he comes out with LP 2 later on, but, you know, then you have Eminem Show and Encore, and then he's got the Music to Be Murdered By and the Music to Be Murdered By Side B. Like everything has a way of coming back.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Bad Guy on LP 2.
Yeah.
Bro, that's Matthew from Stan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the younger brother. He's like, hey, you could have at least signed an autograph for my little brother, Matthew.
Yeah.
You know, he's your biggest fan. He likes you more than I do.
Yeah.
And then in Bad Guy, when you listen to it, he's like, Eminem, we have the same initials, Matthew Mitchell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, but going back to what you said, I've read about like when Elton John helped him with his sobriety and stuff like that. Cause Elton John is my mom's favorite artist.
Yeah.
And so I grew up listening to the Beatles and Elton John and stuff. And then when I got older and Eminem, like the Eminem show is the number one for me. Like that's the top, because that was the era that changed. I was the white t-shirt with the dyed blonde hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like once I put together the dots of like, especially like an Elton John and Eminem thing, like you could see the kind of veteran helping out a guy like Eminem, getting his life straight and getting it clean. And then he just articulates it into words.
Bro. And well, the thing that with the whole Elton John thing is it was funny because he's, you know, all in his rhymes, he made fun of gay people.
Yeah.
You know, especially hard back in the day, like early Eminem.
Yeah.
But like, he's kind of just like a comedian too. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, Elton John's his sponsor. You know what I mean? Like,
Elton was the one that said he was misunderstood.
Yeah.
You know, he was like nothing. He's never said any, you know, like obviously in lyrical matter, that's kind of like the same medium as comedic, you know,
right.
Like dialogue, like you said, like it's kind of where you can say whatever you want. And it's a little bit, you know, there's some parody behind it or some satire or whatever. And so Elton never took it personally and helped him out. And I mean, he calls shots on everybody in his songs, but it's like, I'm sure everybody understands like, hey, that's just what he does in his music.
Well, it's funny, like his latest album, he like makes fun of like the trans stuff and goes all hard on all that. And then he's got a daughter named Stevie that he adopted from his wife, Kim, I believe, cheated on him, got pregnant with another dude, and then he adopted that daughter, but she's trans.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
And I mean,
but
you know,
and
just to preface, it's like, bro, I'm down with whatever. Like I was in my gay cousin's wedding. Like, you know, I'm down with whatever. You know, it's like you watch some comedians and music, like whoever it is, you know, poke at it, and it just is what it is. It's just kind of, it's just material.
Yeah. That's where I'm going with it too, and that's why like it's just interesting because he's funny. He's like the comedian, you know, but it was good. I think you'll like it. I took my daughter to it. She got into, you know, and his lyrics are hard, right? I mean, some of it's like not healthy if you listen to too much of it, you know. I mean, and that's never really why I've gotten into it. Like it's more like how is he telling how is he putting words together and connecting them like that? And, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm very interested in about him.
Well, and Yellow Wolf is another one that I like a lot.
Yeah.
And Yellow Wolf's one of the only guys that M has ever like really put on. And this isn't like a rap forum podcast right now, but I'm talking about artistry.
It's important.
I'm talking about artistry, and I think that's why I love Eminem no matter what.
Right.
You know, going back to the early stuff where he was very, very volatile, and then like, you know, like an album that people don't love, or, you know, the acclaim on it or whatever, you know, like Revival, like go listen to the lyrical matter and how much sense he's making on everything that he's saying. And then it's irrefutable. You're like, okay, this guy's, he's on another level. And it's been interesting to like learn his backstory. Like he literally used words to defend himself growing up. Like he got so good that you just didn't want to catch flames from him, so you just left him alone. Yeah, you know, and then eventually everyone kind of in the rap game did the same thing. But to me, like his music is always in my rotation. I like a lot. That music to me is the cleanest version of, you know, what you're talking about, where you're looking for something to make you kind of feel good. That to me is huge. I also play a ton of guitar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's cool. You got that as spirit. You both have that as spiritual work.
Yeah,
music.
dude. I mean, I played guitar before I came here. You know, I've got to take 30 to, you know, if I got 30 to 45 minutes in the morning to sit down and play, it actually like organizes your brain, because it is a hand-eye coordination type thing. But then, you know, I listen to a lot of, you know, other music that people may not be into, you know, Tool, Mastodon, Lamb of God,
Lamb of God, bro. That book you gave me,
dude. Yeah, Randy Blythe's book, dude. Yeah,
that was a good book.
Yeah, that's a good one. And so, you know, listening to that stuff right there, it's the same type of thing like with Eminem, where if you don't listen to the lyrics, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
And then in this kind of more intricate style music, like if you're not listening, you kind of miss it. And so, listening to that type of music, like I don't listen to mainstream music.
Yeah.
Nothing against it. I think everybody who's doing well in any facet, like I don't talk shit on, you know what I mean? But like for me personally, I like the stuff that has layers to it, you know, and then like especially learning it on guitar or whatever, you know, and I'm like that's my only hobby, because baseball and guitar were my only two things growing up, but now baseball is my career.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like baseball is my job, guitar and music is my only hobby, you know, and so that's a very, very healthy one for me. I always encourage kids, like, bro, find an instrument you like. I mean, you know, like drums are a good one because it's so rhythmic and like such a feeling type of thing. Guitar is more of like a kind of like a skill in terms of just like it's very fine, you know. Sometimes you almost feel like you're drawing with your hand, you know, so it's very fine work.
I wish I would have gotten into that. One of my buddies told me for my kid, he's like, dude, you should get your kids into the piano.
Yeah.
He's like, because it like changes the way he was talking about one of his big buddies who could play the piano, and he was like different. He like thinks different, like you know what I'm saying?
Sure. That was actually kind of like a rule in our family. My grandma wanted all of us to be able to play an instrument, and she had a cool player piano at her house, which I don't even know if most people know what that is, but you take these old rolls and you put it in the piano and pump these pedals, and the piano would play itself. I mean, it's like from generations ago.
Yeah.
And so we would sit there and play on that player piano, and I would kind of get like a melody for something, and there was this old terrible acoustic guitar. I still have it to this day. It would just get beat up at my grandma's house, and I would sit there and try to kind of figure out the melodies, just picking at it, you know. And that was and then my older brother was huge into teaching me guitar and bass and stuff like that. So I could not stress it enough to anybody who's looking for I mean, no matter how old you are, dude, like get an acoustic guitar from somewhere and just start picking at that thing for a little bit every single day. And you find something in that, any instrument for that matter.
Damn, I would like that.
Yeah, you're never too old to learn an instrument.
Maybe that's something I need to do.
It's just the first initial learning curve. Just get past that, and then you'll be having fun.
I remember my first year in pro ball. I was in Martinsville, Virginia, and had gotten hurt halfway through the season, and I'd torn my PCL, and so then I was just sitting. And we were in Nashville, and this dude convinced me to buy a guitar, and I remember it was like $300, which is a lot of money. I remember because you're not getting paid, and I bought that guitar, and I sat there and tried, and you know, you get your fingers hurt, when you're first getting into it, you know, like But I tried that summer because there was a couple dudes who played the guitar, but I didn't really go anywhere after that. But
this is what I say, because I can't read music.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they have what they call tab or tablature, which is basically just numbers. Like, so it's just like, as you look at it on the screen, it's just basically 6 strings if you're playing a 6-string guitar, and then it's just numbers. So you just go to, you know, if it says 3, then you go to the 3rd fret on that string, and it kind of teaches you that way. But I play by ear.
Yeah.
Like I'll listen to something like Brent Hines from Mastodon is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Mark Morton from Lamb of God is one of my favorites. Adam Jones is probably the guy from Tools who I play the most like. So I listen to them and then try to emulate them.
Really?
And then that kind of refines the technique, because it's hard to play pro musicians' music and, you know, and let it sound shitty. So you learn how to play it the right way. You know what I mean?
Just by listening to it.
Just by listening to it.
Over and over. And then,
Yeah.
and then you make adjustments. You're like, oh, that ain't it.
Yeah. And you know what? To me, the biggest thing that has helped me with that is like the evolution of YouTube. Because with YouTube, you can go back and you can play videos at like 50% speed, 75% speed. So you can be like, hang on, what was that? Right. And you know what I mean? And so like, especially learning like solos or intricate riffs or something like that, like that's how I do it. And it takes way longer. Like if I could just read music and I was just like a music aficionado, which I do practice a lot, but I prefer to listen to it and then find the correct tuning and then try to sound it out.
So in your life, with you had ADHD, OCD, like, so, you know, and then so when I first met you, you young kid, like, I don't know, 14, 15. He went to Bonneville and first started training him at my gym. Him and was it Sam and Jack? Yeah, they were over there, right. Just in high school, and you weren't really into it, like at the beginning. Like you liked to train, but not, you know, just like normal kids. I mean, Bodie, my kid right now, he's not great athlete, like gifted, but like he doesn't have. But then I don't know. You went off to college. Remind me, it was Nevada.
Yep.
What was it again?
Western
Nevada.
Yep.
And then he comes home, and it was like one summer, bro, like he just like I never seen anybody flip a switch like that. Like he got obsessed with training.
Well, this was actually one of the main talking points I wanted to talk about coming in here, because I'll try to sum up some years of my life quickly, because when I first met you, like God gave me some ability to play baseball that was just given to me. Right. Like obviously when I look back on it, I practiced a lot growing up. My dad was always there. Like, so I was always working on it, but it was distinctly clear that I was better at that than I was at anything. Right. And it was especially pitching.
Good arm.
I was a good pitcher. So like I meet you, I get around Sam, I get around Brian Heward, you know, I get around these guys who have like some older brothers, and you're even older than their older brothers. Right. So like you're just that much farther ahead. Right. So like I meet a guy like you, and you're right. In the beginning, I didn't really know how to apply what you were teaching me. Right. I knew it was good. I knew it was going to help me get better, but you know, have a really good career at Bonneville. I'd actually found out not that long ago I was the all-time wins leader there. Wow. You know, so I mean, I got 18 in 3 years, which is pretty good. You know, I especially considering we were terrible my sophomore year. Right. You know, but that group of us kind of got together, and I just kind of started to get hungrier, you know, and then I got that junior college I went to was a nationally ranked JUCO. Yeah. We went to the JUCO World Series my freshman year. And then I committed to Utah Tech the next year, had another good year. I had 4 really good years of college, but the last 2 were completely different from the first 2. Yeah. And it was when I met you in the summer of 2013. Yeah. And I came into your gym. I remember it was an early morning. I came in and I was like, bro, like I'm ready to change. Like, like I want to become something different. And what I learned in that little war gym, I literally still use today. I train every day. I've had to get smarter with my elbow surgeries and stuff. But the application of you taught me this premise that the toughness that you're going to learn in a gym will basically win over a guy who's like talented on a field and hasn't put the work in.
Yeah.
And so I had this like armor of belief in myself because I knew I was going harder than everybody in the gym. And I showed up down in St. George that next fall and I was throwing 3 miles per hour harder. I was like 95.
Yeah.
You know, I went from like 90, 92, which is, you know, it's pretty good. I had a pretty good slider, but dude, I was 95 and I was like, I remember texting you just being like, dude, this shit is like, it's like magic, you know? And I remember I sent you the video. I bought a back squat like set up and had it in my house. I had it in a room that definitely shouldn't have been there. If I would have ever dropped the weight,
Yeah, it was like upstairs or something.
But dude, I was so serious about the barbell stuff,
bro. And the thing that was hard about training you too is like I thought you were gonna get hurt because your intensity was so high.
Yeah,
like he was like, I remember the one day when you had, I think it was 235, and you'd hit 225 in the clean.
Yeah,
which is a big clean for a pitcher,
bro.
You know
I mean,
like,
look, I'm long, I'm skinny, like you know, I got skinny arms, long legs, like I can't clean at all.
I remember, and I'm like, damn, like this dude, you miss it, yelling, pissed off, walk around for a minute with that bullshit music playing, that Lamb of God, like then he'd walk back over to the try it again, and like you know. Hour and a half of this going on, and I'm like, dude, and he won't. I mean, he ain't hearing anything. And then you finally got it.
I got it.
It was like, but like, I mean, that mentality. Yeah, I don't know if you can teach that mentality. You came into it. You know, I don't know. You found it. You found that mentality somehow.
Well, and Clay Snipeman, who's my trainer up at Weber State. Clay's one of the most genius physical therapists,
like
athletic
Clay.
Trainers.
I remember,
you know, his mind, he's just so good. And so he had said to me, like, after my second elbow surgery, you know, because he could see I was like, I was not done. I came back, I was throwing hard again. And he was like, what is it about you? Like, what is inside of you that's like pushing you to do this? And I said, dude, I've always known that it was like in me, you know. I wasn't the best growing up, like guys like Sam and Jack and Brian and you know, some of these guys were a little bit more, they're a little ahead of me as I was growing up, and that, you know, there was nothing I could do about it. You know, athletically they were more developed than me.
Good looking kids. You had a good group. Austin.
Oh, dude.
I mean, you guys had a bunch of good. They had a good little crew.
Yeah, I mean, we had back-to-back 20-win seasons at Bonneville, you know, deep runs into the state tournament and stuff.
Probably the last group that went through there that was any good, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, seriously, like it was you guys, you know, Alex Hall had his group there for a little while, you know, like Tanner Juggler and those guys. And Logan was another one that was good in my class. But, you know, those guys were always just like a little bit, you know, better than I was always the best pitcher, right? But I could always feel that people thought that they were a little better than me, and they were athletically and talent wise a little bit more refined than me. But by the time it was all said and done, if you ask anybody that played with me, I made it happen because
the mindset.
I would not let it go.
So circling back to ADHD and OCD, do you think that those became those? I don't want to say defects, but I mean they're you're born with I guess they're somewhat mood disorders. Do you think those disorders helped you?
It was an enhancer for sure.
When you learned how to point ADHD in the right direction, how to point OCD in the right direction.
Oh, and you know what? As I until I sat down with my doctor, who is one of the smartest dudes I know, and he's not like just he's not just one of these doctors that just, you know, throws something at anything. You know, we have real conversations about stuff, and I always thought it was OCD. because I had to do these little, like rituals inside of ritual, and nobody knows it. Like, no one knows what's going on inside of my head. But what happened is that I started pitching in the ninth inning, which, was closing, and that's the most intense part of the game.
Right.
And what I figured out is that I was getting out on the field and like, I was just like, I had the calmest heartbeat of anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it became this thing where like I could be in a game and I could be basically convincing myself I was doing the same thing I was doing in the bullpen 5 minutes ago, getting ready to go into the game.
Yeah.
So the moment never got too big. Yeah. So I was so hyper focused on what I was doing that it never, like the emotions and the nerves and all that stuff that people talk about on the field.
Yeah.
It kind of made me more immune to that. So to answer your question, yes.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way. I mean, I would just, as soon as I, like that day in the gym where I wasn't gonna not get that set, that is the same thing that happened as soon as I would go into a game.
It's interesting. It's interesting how that training probably pushed you into becoming a closer.
It did, bro.
Because you were like borderline crazy in that gym, like not crazy,
no,
but like his intensity was a lot. Like he came in and it was impressive. Like
yeah.
But that intensity, I think, it pushed you into becoming that, because you're right. At the end of the game, that's like perfect for you. The mentality that you developed in that gym, because it's like that, let's go, like, just let's go, that really intensity where you, and then a closer with your mentality, like it makes sense.
Well, and the other thing that you taught me about the gym is that you taught me, and this isn't going to be phrased correctly, but there's like a correct way to be strong. Like it's one thing to move weight, but then it's another thing to be technical about doing it.
Yeah.
So like in the gym, going to that war gym, because they wanted me to go play summer ball and stuff. And I'm just like, look, bro, I don't need to talk about like personal accolades, but my first year at Dixie, dude, I set the single season saves record that was there.
Yeah.
And I don't do that without being in your gym.
Yeah.
Because the gym teaches you to go hard, but you've got to be like a tactician.
Right.
And that's what pitching is. Pitching is like they talk about painting the outside corner, or, always painting out there, always carving up, like it's being able to throw multiple pitches for strikes and all this stuff. So it's like you're going hard, but if you only go hard or if you only try to be perfect, neither's going to work. It's got to be this balance of like vision, like literal, just like point A to point B. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to attack it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm not saying this to kiss your ass. This is the first time we have ever sat down in this setting to talk about this.
Right.
If I don't meet you and if I don't get in your gym, my baseball career does not happen.
Wow.
It might continue on to play 4 years of college, but I definitely don't get signed by the Brewers.
Yeah.
There's no way. Because I went back the next season and did the exact same thing. Got the all-time record. I think you filled out that. I got nominated for the Hall of Fame. I appreciate you filling that out, but it's like, it's not about that. It's about, I went from basically being like a mildly average athlete who could pitch.
Yeah.
And then the gym transformed me. It transformed my body. It transformed my mind. And when people are struggling, like with anything, like, even if they're not athletes or whatever, I'm just like, bro, get in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, get a routine. Like, even if you don't have a gym, like, get up in the morning and have like I told a guy one time, I said, hey, like a 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, I'm like, hey, 50 air squats, 40 push-ups. Like, I'm just like throwing, I'm just like, hey, just see if you can do it 3 days in a row or, 5 times a week, three or 4 times a week, whatever. And to me, it's a cure for everything.
Yeah.
It's truly a cure.
Right.
And then the nutritional part, we talk about, hey, we've gone down the rabbit holes with nutrition, dude.
Well, the thing, so the interesting thing with it, so he like, you were like a little overweight, like just kind of a overweight kid. Like you kind of grew up.
I was a big kid growing up. Like in my family, the genetics are just like big bones, bigger dudes. You know, my dad's side, my dad's side, my mom's side. Like that was just kind of the genetic pool I was given. And so dialing in the nutrition was also an important part of it.
Yeah, bro. Like I want to say this too, bro. So you don't know this. So those years were hard with money, keeping that gym open.
Yeah.
Like hard. Like nobody knows how hard. Nobody was paying. Nobody paid in that gym. It was, to keep month to month to keep the doors open. Like I'm talking, so this is how I would do it. I'd be like, all right, I need to cover my family. I need to figure that out. So I'd be like, all right, I got to cover this car payment. And I start with my family and figure out how to cover those bills. And then it would go, okay, now I need to figure out how to cover the gym. Yeah. And so the rent was like, I don't know, I think it was like $1,400 a month, which was cheap back then. Not cheap back then. Cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
But you donated, your parents, every month I got a check from, you gave me a check, $500. And I want you to know how big that was.
Yeah.
Like I don't think, that's like you didn't have to pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always showed up month to month and handed me $500. $500. Like,
now granted, I was doing 2-a-days in your gym, bro.
I know, but everybody was using that gym for free.
Sure. And I knew, and you and I've known you personally well enough where we used to, sneak around the back out there and sit there and talk and about everything,
We might have had it. Did we smoke a cigarette?
It was actually a prime time.
A prime time.
Yeah, it was a prime time.
Yeah.
No, but the deal with my dad was, and this is where I talk about my parents having my back and supporting me and believing in me. My dad's like, if you're gonna pay him, like you go in there and get your money's worth. Like you go work your ass off. Like you come back here basically exhausted. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, I will. Because I was like, I'm not doing this for anybody. I would go in that gym when no one was there and do the same thing by myself. And I would have to actually kind of recreate it. Being around other people and a little bit of like the adrenaline of like, being in that group is nice. But like, bro, I spent many days in that gym just by myself, blowing your speakers out, pissing your neighbors off, not really giving a shit.
Remember all the holes in the fences from playing catch.
Dude, I know. And you know what? I've actually, in like the last like probably 3 months, I've thought about that. I've thought about that fence, and I've thought about driving over there to see if they've been fixed yet, just to pay for them to get fixed.
Just holes what kind of fence is it? A vinyl?
Dude, it's like it's like a vinyl fence, and
bro, those were the days. I mean, is it all right?
Yeah, you're good.
The funny thing about those days, like, it's weird. It's a weird thing because I look back on those days and then I look at now, where it's at now. And I'm like, it's like not the same. It's not the same thing. It's like, it's almost like two different eras of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, with it now, I have another job, so I got into education.
Yep.
Which was a blessing.
Yeah, that's
you know
awesome.
What I'm saying? Like that, just having another salary and then having some insurance. I mean, all those years I never had insurance. I mean, I think back to that, like, imagine having your kids. And I remember, for all my first two kids, my wife had to have a C-section. We had no insurance. it was still worked out fine. Like when you go into a hospital and you have no insurance and you just let them know, like they help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, sure.
like we just got on like payment plans and like it wasn't as expensive and like it worked. The doctor, one of the anesthesiologists just donated his time.
Wow.
So like it was like, I don't know, interesting, but now having insurance and then, you know, there was a lot of things I just am not good at, like money, like going to the bank and like figuring out how to,
Sure.
you know, maybe that's my ADHD. I mean, I think I'm good like this stuff, coaching, and I have my strengths, you know,
Yeah.
but I'm a guy who likes to go isolate at a cemetery and write all day. You know what I mean? So I might not be the best businessman as far as like,
Sure.
let's run a business. And now, really, I just come over here and work with people, and Frank runs the business, you know. But I just look back to that time that it was special because it was so raw.
It was.
It was a raw thing, like people just rolling in there. I mean, we had people sleeping in there, you know.
I remember because I'd have to go at obscure times and I'd be like, oh damn. I didn't know they were staying the night. What's up, brother?
Bro,
I'll warm up on the war loop out here. Hey, the war loop was dark.
The one where down, up, down, Glassman.
So you'd go down from War, you'd cut in front of that Sinclair, you'd go down Glassman, all the way through Glassman.
Yeah.
Through Peterson by that church, and
Yeah.
then up the S Hill.
Yeah.
And then, dude,
I forgot about that, bro.
The S. Oh, dude, I shed 20 pounds on the war loop alone.
Yeah.
I shed my binge meals on the war loop.
How to lose weight in 10 days.
No, it was worse than that. It was how to lose 10 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah.
Because we were doing spring training, you know, they're doing body fat and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And guys are like, bro, how do we, because if you fail the physical stuff, it's not failing a physical, but
Yeah.
they basically put you like in conditioning camp type
Right.
of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, those were special times.
yeah,
bro.
but what I was going to say is that, you know, I guess call those the formative years,
Right.
your vision was always there. And the reason that those people were around, and this is just my opinion, is that you've always had the vision to be able to help people. You know what I mean? And one thing I learned from you is like how to, I think I've had the ability to do it, but like watching someone like you, like articulate information to someone,
Right.
you know, it's got to be information with emotion and conviction behind it.
Yeah.
And then people listen.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're just kind of up there and you're like, well, you know, biologically or psychologically, if you it's like, it's very stale. So it's
Right.
like with you, you've just got a way of getting through to people, you know,
Right.
because you don't have to act tough for people to take you serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And someone said that to me about like managing, because, you know, like managing a team of 30-year-old alpha male, or excuse me, like 30, 25-year-old alpha males is
Yeah.
not the easiest
Oh, yeah.
thing to do to keep those guys on the same page. But like when all the shit you say makes sense and they can all be like, hey, yeah, this is rooted in either my experience or, you know,
Yeah.
I'll always give credit to who I learned something from.
Yeah.
But also you got to lead by example, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I try to be real. Like I try to be real. The one thing I love about you, and I laugh my ass off at your nutrition videos sometimes. But dude, I'm so real with my players.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, bro, I'm not perfect. Like I'm going to make mistakes. There's going to be days that I show up here where I am not 100%, but I will give you every bit of what I have. And if you'll do that same thing, we'll be good. You know what I mean? We will come out on the right side of the outcome more often than not. And
Hey, I'm listening to you.
you know,
yeah.
and so that's kind of something that you learn like in a gym.
Yeah.
You know, doing hard stuff, doing adversity. Like if you'll just show up and do it,
Yeah.
even if you don't got your A game, man. You know, you should try to perfect to have it as much as possible. Right. But if you don't, then, you know, just get it done, bro. Showing up's most of the battle.
For sure. One thing that I had to I had to go to rehab. I told you this. I had to go to rehab last summer.
Yeah.
It was about this time, September. And one of the things that I worked on heavily, and I'm still working on it, and that I'm now aware of, is that I always feel like anywhere I go, I need to be on. And if if I don't feel on, then ding, let's go get. I need to take something to make me on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Like, and so that's something I'd had. So it's okay if you show up somewhere and you're just yourself. Like, no one can run at 145% every time.
Yeah.
And usually the times that I show up and I don't feel on, and I get the craving to take something to help, because I would say most of my cravings is to enhance. I want to enhance a moment. So this would be like something. If I came in here, I knew I was meeting with Evan today, and I'm like, damn, I need to be on for this. But that's a thinking error, because you can't be all like, you might not have slept good. You roll in, and then the thing I'm working on is just like, I'll get on. I just got to sit down and listen.
Yeah.
And then the spirit of the moment will happen. And usually I end up being on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
And that's something for you. Like, you probably have to deal with that a lot, right? You got to be on. And then you're like, damn, I don't know where you're at with enhancing. I mean, it goes to caffeine. I'll be like, go get some caffeine. That'll help me feel on. I mean, but I'm trying to just be this guy that rolls in, and it's like, all right, I'm not perfect right now, but like, dude, I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And no one else notices that I'm not completely on.
Sure.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
So look, I'm gonna say two things. Okay, so every day that I show up to my job, basically, I kind of have thought of it like this. It's like, you know, you show up to your 3rd or 4th grade class, like your teacher is there, right? Like, so as your teacher is this stable thing, you know, like, that's a human being, but like, you show up to class, your teacher's there, and you expect them to be on, like you're saying right now. Right. So for me, every day I show up to my job, I'm usually the first one at the office. I'm getting the day organized. The first guy that shows up to talk to me, or if we have a team meeting that day, like, I don't have a choice whether or not to be on. So I'm working in the background, like, what do I got to do to be on? And sometimes, you know, like, if it looks like I didn't sleep great last night, I didn't. You know, we had a night game last night. So I got home, I'm wired, I'm dumping my adrenaline late, you know? You know, but like, coming here this morning, like, I'd already thought about doing this so many times that I just reverted back to the thoughts. I was like, oh, dude, I'm good, you know? And so breath work helps, you know, just even if it's just 30 seconds of isolation by myself, just,
right.
You know, just literally trying to reset my nervous system. Cause once I know I'm good, and like my heart rate isn't up too much or whatever, I know I'm going to think cogently. I'm going to speak cogently. That's one skill that you and I both have, is it's like being able to formulate thoughts into words and just flow. You know what I mean? We have that ability. It's easier to do it when you're on, though.
Right.
Okay.
And it's a lie. I want to say this. It's a lie to think that if you pop a pill or drink Kratom, that you're going to be more on.
No, dude.
Even like going harder on caffeine's a lie. Like, so you already did 300 milligrams. To think that 3 hours later, you're like, damn, like, I got to go do this. I can take more caffeine. I'm going to, that's a lie too. It doesn't make you more on.
No.
I don't know.
No. The natural, the body, the mind, all this stuff, I genuinely believe like we're damn near a perfect, you know, calculator, computer, whatever, in some ways. Some of us have more aggressive tendencies than others. For those of us that are, you know, kind of psychotically driven toward both, you know, the things that we're talking about, job, career, family, whatever, it's like, you know, but the one thing that also helps me, I wanted to bring this up, because I know in the last like few years, we've lost some dudes that are close to us.
Right.
You know, Parker Christensen was one of my best friends growing up. I've known that dude since I was 12. You know, he dies in a plane crash when we're 28. Like, there's not a day that goes by I don't think about him. You know what I mean? I got a huge, like, my whole stomach rocker is a thing that's dedicated to him. And honestly, when I'm having a bad moment, I'm just like, dude, he would think you are such a pussy right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, you are on earth, breathing, like, living, you're thriving, like, go. Like, you know, it kind of like, if you wait till you're ready, you're never going to be ready type of thing. So it's like, I think about Parker. I think about, you know, my grandma passed a while back, you know, bro, I wanted to bring this up, you know, Cade Boyer.
Yeah.
When I first moved down to St. George, I had nowhere to lift.
Yeah.
Because the NCAA had rules on where, you know, you couldn't be on the campus training yet.
Right.
And all this stuff. And so I hit Cade up, and bro, he just let me lift at CrossFit Dixie, which is like totally packed all day long, classes in and out all day. And he was just like, hey bro, no, like, that section can be you. Like, just come in, sign this. Like, I want, you know, good luck this year. And him and I stayed in contact down there, but if I didn't have those like 2 or 3 weeks of training at CrossFit Dixie, there's a chance I would have lost that fire and routine that I was in, that I had developed with you. But you had called him, and he was like, yeah, you know, have him come in type of thing.
Bro, the thing that's cool about you that I'm learning, well, a few things. I've always known it, but you have a gift to see where gratitude exists in your life.
Yep.
You know, like you everything that the story you've been telling, you always circle back to gratitude, and they're little moments.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can learn from me, myself included, because I think you have the gift of seeing where the highs exist in your life with gratitude. Yeah. Like, just, you know, you've got gratitude for 3 weeks at CrossFit Dixie. You know, I guess where I'm going is a lot of people skip over like the little tiny moments that are simple. Yeah. That actually do have a big impact. But I think you see those. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting from you listening. Well, to you.
And I would say this, that's actually, in a way, I'm not going to call it like a defense mechanism at all, but what I will say is that is that's kind of a pivot that I do, where I think about those things, and I think about gratitude, and it's like, bro, it could even just be like, you know, I went back and listened to an old Beatles album the other day I haven't listened to, and I was just like, God, this is so good, dude. Like, you know, it's like produced in 1966. Like, you know, it just, again, just a little moment, but like, I use those little moments of good to battle the intensity inside of me, because most people have no idea. My parents are probably the only people who really, really know how intensely I'm wired. Yeah. You know, like the last text I usually get from my dad at night is turn it off. Yeah. Because he's talking about my head. He knows how I think. He knows that I'm going to be thinking about the next day, and, you know, thinking about, you know, especially if we have a game or whatever, like, he'll always just be like, turn it off. Yeah. Because he knows the intensity that I'm going to, as soon as my eyes pop open, dude, it just is what it is. Yeah. There's not a day that I wake up where I'm just like, you know, I'm just like, dude, it's just, it's on full.
Do you ever suffer? Well, there's that mindset when you can't stop thinking, and when it's going to, do you end up hitting a point where you end up suffering?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like an anxiety type situation.
Yes. I'm also diagnosed with anxiety, which I have to handle on my own, because I do not want to, bro, we've talked about this. Yeah. I have no interest in being hooked on anything. Right. You know, I have no, you know, going through all my surgeries, just to preface all of this, going through 3 major elbow surgeries, I've put enough pills, NSAIDs, naproxen, meloxicam, anything you can think of to try, you know, because my arm hurts literally every day. Yeah. I throw batting practice every day, you know. but like,
yeah.
you know, bro, I still got up to like 93 this offseason. I can still chuck it, you know. It's not a matter of if I it's just it hurts, you
Yeah.
know. And so I
Just there.
yeah, and so I don't want to put any more like pills through me or anything like that. You know, I'll take some ibuprofen when I need it, and you know, if I'm inflamed or whatever. But you know, the suffering part is something that has taught me as much as it's like punished me.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, why am I like punishing myself? Like I didn't really create how I feel. You have to take accountability for it. But like, you know, some of us just have different wiring in our brain, and it just is what it is.
Right.
You know? And so, you know, I try to keep it clean. I don't do anything, you know, the anxiety stuff. I really try to find external ways to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. Being around my kids.
Yeah.
Playing guitar, going to my office and just like, you know, doing some work that I know I need to do. And I will purposely leave little projects off to the side for when I need something to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And another hack that you and I talked about is the nutrition.
Yeah.
You can basically kind of, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. You can basically turn nutrition and training like into your high.
Yeah.
Into you know, so it's like you lift and then you leave the gym, and now all of a sudden those feelings start creeping in that you and I used to talk about. It's like, why don't you go to the gym, or why don't you go to the store and meal prep?
Yeah.
Like start like obsessing on that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because the obsessive part of the way that we are is never going away.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, where do you channel it?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. What what habits do you put into your life?
Yeah.
The nutrition, dude. Yeah. It gets you when I'm eating healthy like that and training and being moderate with keeping the binging down and it's unbelievable how good I feel. Like it's not even, it's a legit anxiety depression medication.
It changes everything. And I mean, you want to look at I guess the biological, or, you know, the actual science behind why you feel better has stuff to do with gut health. It has stuff to do with, but it's not just gut health.
Yeah.
You know, if you're putting something shitty in your mouth, it might feel good for like 5, you know, like, oh man, like I'm enjoying how this tastes. And then it's just pity after, you know,
Just shame.
yeah, just shame, dude. And so
Such a loser.
yeah, dude. And so, you know, I think that the nutrition is so important, because I mean, that's your fuel. You know, I've started looking at it like a car. You know, it's like if you drive a nice car, man, you don't put bad gas in it. Like you take care of it, you maintenance it, you get it in, oil change, all that type of stuff. You do all the things necessary to keep that machine up and running. And that's exactly what we are.
Yeah.
You know, we just have the free will to, you know, do good or not do good.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a minute. It takes a minute to see the reward on nutrition.
It does.
I found
totally.
it takes about 5 days of being dialed, and you got to make it through a weekend.
Yep.
So like if you make it through a weekend, it's like you'll wake up, you're like, damn, like, so if you went, let's say Monday, dialed your nutrition in and made it through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're getting ready to participate in Monday again, that Monday is completely different than the prior Monday.
Oh,
like you're like, you wake something, psychologically, you wake up with more energy. You would wake up with, you're in a better mood. My morning spiritual work, so like my reading and everything that I'm doing in the morning to try to connect with God and try to get ready, is so much better. Like it's like a high.
Yeah.
And me just talking about it right now just is like motivating me to. I'm doing all right with nutrition, but I'm not like dialed.
Right.
You know? And there's something to be said about being dialed, dude. It's different.
But this is where I was talking about, and you know, I remember going back to training in the gym like on days when I was sore because we did the what was it called? The Pierce Hawk low bar, whatever it was, dude. It was
cycle,
dude. It was like 9 weeks or so. It was something crazy, you know. It was. I got so strong from it, but by about week 7 or so, I'm dragging.
Yeah.
And you said something to me about, hey, look, man, get as close to the number as you can. Just do what you can. Basically, is kind of what you said, and that's what I said earlier about, if I'm not 100%, I'll still show up here and give you what I got. Yeah. And I think you can apply that same thing. At least I have. I've applied that to everything. Nutrition. I talked about playing guitar every day. Like that's an important thing for me. If I don't have the full time or the full focus to be able to sit down and do it, I'm still going to sit down and just do it a little bit, and I'll feel better about it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And that is where I feel like guys like us fall into it. That can be a really good thing, and that can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you can dial it in to where you are all good, nothing bad, great. But that's not realistic, dude.
Yeah.
We're humans. Like we're designed to make errors sometimes. It just is what it is.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
And
bro.
so, dude, I mean, throw a 7 out of 10 at it. Throw a 6 out of 10 at it. I mean, if you feel like your nutrition's halfway there, it
is what it is, and you're doing well, and you're staying sober, and you're yeah. What? Tell me about your kids,
dude.
So
all right.
What great spiritual work. I actually never. I always hoped that you would have kids. I was like damn, because I can just tell you'll be a good father, but
and God definitely gave me girls.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm serious. I'm going to be 100% honest right now. I was always worried about if I had a son, if I would be like too hard on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always thought about like the expectations of, not even the expectations, but like the pressure I felt from baseball and the pressure I felt, in other facets of life, and I always worried that I didn't want to project those onto my son. Like this is before I ever thought about having kids. And then I got 2 daughters. So I have Lennon, who's 4, and I have Halen, who's 2. Yeah. And if that doesn't tell you about my musical influence, so they are legit. I call them my sunshine. I got a big. It's actually a remake of an Alice in Chains and Gojira album on my back, but it's a sunshine, and it's for both of them because that's what they feel like to me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's actual, like it changes my physiological, like how I'm feeling when I see them, when I you know what I mean? And I know you know that.
Yeah.
Because those procreations of you are one of the only experiences in life that will like just make you sit back and think about life and things you've never thought about before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, man, now I understand why I know this lesson, or now I understand why I remember that memory from my grandma, or I understand, it's like, I understand now why I was kind of a mama's boy.
Yeah.
And both my daughters are daddy's girls.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it's very, dude, it's so interesting. And they literally give me more reason to live every day.
Yeah.
They motivate me to be better. I enjoy my time with them. They both love playing music. I mean, I've got a studio set up. We just go in and it's just mayhem, dude. We're just making noise and dancing around, and I got music playing, and they love coming to my facility and hitting off the tee and stuff, and we just hang out and have fun, and their influence on my life, maybe I'll be able to explain it to them when they're older.
Bro, that's beautiful. it makes me happy. My sister Heidi, I don't
Yeah.
you know Heidi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She's in the FBI, and like so she's super driven,
Yeah.
and career like, and I always would tell her because I would be like, God, because I don't know if she was planning on having kids. Like, she just kind of had it in her mind that she just was going to work,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking and telling her, I'm like, I just don't know if you'll ever experience what it's like the type of, I don't know if you can capture the type of love in any other way that you would when you have kids, and so she just had a baby.
Oh, she did?
She did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she's she's like, she's not even the same person. You know what I mean?
It's not.
And just watch what happens to people. And dude, the nights when they're not sleeping and you got to get up and it's a grind and and it sucks and you're pissed and you got to rock them and get a bottle. And then they're all the things. I mean, I remember when my kids were little and it'd be like if Autumn was going out of town and I'd have all my kids when they're little and I'd be like, here we go. Like, I don't know if there's a harder work, like where you're like, dude. I got my kids. But then as I'm mid 40 man now with my daughter is going to Weaver State. And then my son Bodie, he's just going to be a sophomore.
Dude,
isn't that wild?
I cannot believe I saw you post something. Maybe it was Kennedy graduated, like her announcement or something. I was like, she's going to college.
It's crazy, bro. Like she's like more mature than me.
Yeah.
But like it's just wild and it goes by,
Yeah.
And I'm tired of missing it. That's one thing I want to say, because you're right in it. You're building your career.
Yep.
You're hustling, and I know how you operate. Like you're just like, you get focused, and it's like now I'm in my mid 40s and I'm tired of trying so hard on things that are going to cause me to be selfish with my kids. Like the only thing that matters is those kids and my wife and that little family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I still going to create art. That's part of me. I always need to be creating and working on things. But it's like, I'm not going to go over here when I could be here. I'm not going to choose to go over here just because I want to get maybe a dopamine hit from creating. Like I don't know. Like I'm realizing that this is what matters over here.
Yeah.
I'm more so in my mid 40s than I ever have. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like that, I want you to know that because you're in the thick of it. And if you feel yourself it'd be cool if you caught it early and you're like, you know what,
I'm going to tell you how I think about it. And you can, I'd be interested in your take on this. So I think about, you can call them pillars if you want.
Right.
I think about the analogy of a car. Okay, so you've got 4 wheels on a car.
Right.
Okay, and if you got one flat tire, that car doesn't drive.
Right.
Okay, so, and on one tire, you've got your family and you've got the people who are most important to you, and you have to cultivate those relationships. You have to pay attention to them, and you've got to be present.
Right.
Okay, all right, so there's one. And let's call it the most important, okay?
Right.
2, for me, since I work and I have a very demanding year-round job. I mean, but bro, I'm so fortunate. I literally work in baseball every day.
Yeah.
When I'm not in season with the Raptors, I literally just privately train guys, and that's it. You know, so like I'm good there, right?
Yeah.
But I've got to put the time in because it's a self-driven thing. If I'm not good at it, that's not going to be my position anymore.
Right.
You know. Another one would be taking care and paying attention to the things that help me with me. Because if I'm not my best self, I'm not going to be my best self in any of the other facets.
Right.
Going back to the stuff that I said, I do like to read. You got me into audiobooks because I can actually be moving around and hearing, and I like podcasts, and I just, Audio information hits me well and I think it's because I listen to a lot of music.
Right.
I like reading too, but that's got to be like an airport or like going to sleep type of thing, you know. And then the other tire is basically my friends, my social, all of the other stuff that I like to do, you know, because I've got great friends that I've had forever that I'll always cherish those relationships, and I never want to get away from, and they're healthy for me to have. It's healthy to have an outing with your guys. It's, a hike or lunch or dinner, a barbecue or something, get everyone together and chop it up, you know? And so those are my four. Those are, if any tire on my car of life is flat, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And you can feel it, dude. Like you can feel like if you're good with your family and you're good with your job and you're good with your friends, but like internally you're not doing enough to get you right, you're not right.
Right.
Okay. But if you're doing everything else and you're doing all of the stuff for yourself and, things with your family are not good.
Yeah.
No, like everything's out of balance, so you could weight those things to what their importance are if you want to go to like out of a percentage of 100, but that family one and the people closest to you is going to be the most important. And then those other ones, you've got to just balance out.
Yeah, you're right, bro. And the one for me, if I'm not good spiritually, then like I won't be good at most of those others.
Not to cut you off, but inside of the personal, like the hobbies and the guitar and stuff, God is big for me. I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
And so
I've always loved that about you. You've always loved God.
And some of the best talks we had back in, by those barred up windows in the war gym. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just going down the rabbit hole. God is real. Yeah. And I told you back in the day, I said, hey, the first time that this occurred to me, because I grew up in a Catholic background. Right. My dad went to parochial school his entire life, and but nothing was ever forced on me.
Yeah.
There was always crosses in my house, and I honestly wore a cross like growing up because it made me feel better. Even when I was younger, like like junior high, like I didn't know what it meant. Like something about it made me feel better. Right. Yeah. And then, as I get older and do my own research and start formulating my own, views on the world and stuff, Catholicism is what I felt was best for me. It's very traditional. It is a constant bind between me and my relationship with God.
Yeah.
But prayer to me is, dude, it's manifestation in my opinion. Like when you actually, but you have to be realistic with prayer.
Yeah.
You can't, sit down and wish for $1 million. Yeah. It's got to be within reason, and you align yourself properly within that. So the spiritual work, in fact, I had that on my list. That is one of the most important things I ever learned from you.
Yeah.
And
I remember the one day I was driving and I was up at the cemetery and I saw you up there. Remember that day?
Oh yeah, dude.
I was like so happy, bro. I was like, hell yeah, dude. This dude's up here reading, talking to God. Like
yeah, bro. And we I think I was that the one up in Uinta? Yeah, I was going up to Parker's spot. Yeah. I was going up to Park, and I go up there and talk to him, and I'll leave a coffee up there for him every once in a while. But like one thing that you'd said to me years ago that never left me was like when you have the prompt to like text somebody or like show some gratitude in any way, like that's why I'll just drop you a text out of nowhere, and we just bullshit about whatever, but like it's way more than that. That's what spiritual work is. You need to sit down, in my opinion, pray about whatever to whoever. I don't preach anything to anybody. Right. I can just tell you that I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, all this stuff.
Right.
Okay. But if you'll sit down, align yourself properly, reach out to some people that have impacted you
Right.
positively. Or another one that's good is like reach out to someone that you think might be struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And check on that person. And that alone, you know, we're on a charter bus. You know, we got nice ass charter buses. So it's like, you know, the 5 or 6 hour trips are nice, you know, but that's like the only time I get to just be on. I'm on my phone constantly, but I've got my AirPods in, talking on my phone. I'm wheeling and dealing, doing baseball deals and business and stuff like that. But like, that's when I'll sit down and like reach out to, you know, people, you know, at least once a week, I'm going to get that time to sit down and do it. Otherwise I'm kind of on the hamster wheel working every day and, you know, got to see my kids, got to get my work done, got to get my personal work done, and, you know, check in with my boy. I stay in touch with my boys throughout the week, but like that spiritual work, planning it out and actually doing it is so big. You know what I mean?
Dude, so, well, for me, it's called prompting, the prompting of the spirit, whatever you think that spirit is, right? So I get it a lot when I'm talking to people too. So like, if say you're talking with someone and you bring up someone else, I'll hear a prompting like that. I feel like God's speaking through this conversation. And so I'll automatically pull my phone out to check on that person. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that's a good one.
That is
that you can do on the fly. And then, being a listener, you're driving. I get a lot when I'm driving. And I'm glad we're talking about this because I need to get back into it, like more. Listening to those promptings when it comes up and then acting, sending out a text, making a call. And then the person on the other end that receives the text, bro, thanks for texting me. You know, I'm going, you know, and you're like, wow. You know what I mean? You're seeing God work through you when you choose to act on those little promptings from spiritual. And you hit on a good thing, bro. You got to be in alignment. It sucks because I believe God speaks through a still small voice.
Sure.
Talks about in the Bible, still small voice. And so if you're loud and you got your pissed off feelings, resentment, you know, a lot of these different things, you're going to block yourself from hearing those promptings because especially if you have resentment.
Yeah.
You know, resentment or you're mad and you've hit on it all. You talked about breath. You talked about calming yourself down, slowing down, getting back with a lot of the good spiritual work comes when you're with your kids.
Yeah.
And you get present with them.
Yeah.
So I just went fishing with Bodie and my little boy. We went to the greens, like 3-hour drive. And before it, we were leaving on Tuesday night at like 6:00 at night. So all day I kind of was up at Clearfield and doing a bunch of stuff in the weight room. And I got on this narrative in my head. I was like mad. I was like practicing what I'm going to say to people and things aren't going right. And I got in this weird, mad, pissed off narrative and I attached to it. So then I go home and I'm in a really irritable mood and I'm kind of dreading the trip with my sons. You know, we had to drive 3 hours and I'm like, So I get in the car, bro, with them. And I say to myself, prior I had a prayer. And then I said, this, from the moment I get into the car, I am not going to think about anything else. I'm going to look out the window, stare out my eyes, and be completely present for this 3-hour drive, which is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, because I was suffering, you know, and I was going on this trip and I was like, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss this experience with my kids if I don't get present right here. So we start driving and I'm locked in. I'm like, all right, I got music going and I'm there. I'm pretty negative. I get, you know, I'm not letting anything come through the back door. I get up past Morgan, get into Evanston. The whole time I'm still present, bro. Hour in, I pass Evanston, and now your brain's like, if you do this work, which is basically meditation, right? I get past Evanston and all of a sudden I feel this wave of just calm because now my brain is turned over to just being present. And now it's not as hard to stay right here. And now I'm like, damn, like I'm noticing scenery. I'm my kids and like, and bro, I kept this going. I kept that going the whole trip. Like the next morning we had a 1.5 mile hike right there with my kids, you know, bro, this is all stuff I've written about in my last book. I mean, but like, I am so tired of creating assumptions, scenarios, rehearsing what I'm going to say to somebody. You guys do that?
Oh yeah.
And I look at it, it's like you're the actor. Have you ever looked at Jim Carrey with the stuff that he says?
One of my favorites.
Yeah. So he talks about being like depression is when you fall into the actor role and you play and you live the actor role too long, which is the rehearsals, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And anyway, bro, like that was a good spiritual experience because that entire trip with my kids, I was present for that trip. And like, I remember I sat in there, we're down like 1.5 miles in with me and Wiley, and Bodie was off fishing hard on a little 7-year-old, like dragging him all around the river with me. And
I seen you carrying him.
Yeah, carrying him across. And like, he did good, but like we sat down, we went to these little picnic tables and Bodie was down fishing and I was just right there with him. We had this little lunch on the river and I caught this gratitude, just like you've been saying, bro. You have that gift is like, I'm like, damn, bro, like this is so special.
Yeah.
But imagine if you're trapped in your head and you're thinking about work and you're thinking about this and you're mad at this. Like it's you gone, miss dude. That moment.
It's gone.
And I guess what I'm saying with this story is I'm done. I'm done being an actor. I think it'll crock up sometime, but when I become that actor, there's just straight up suffering. It's around the corner.
Yep.
That's basically it's anxiety, don't you think? Mm-hmm. It's what it is when you're thinking about it.
It's not what I've heard about anxiety is, I don't want to butcher this, but it's like, it's not from wanting to know the future, but wanting to control it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
That's
like
perfect.
Like you want to control the outcomes of the future. So you're rehearsing these conversations, you're rehearsing these outcomes, but you have there's no control.
It's not even real.
Yeah. It's a literal facade. It's a literal facade. And I wanted to, before I forget this, talking about I want to link two things. You said talking about, you're having a conversation with someone and then like someone else comes up and that's a prompt. So you text that person and then now you know that you were, in alignment. You're in alignment on that trip with your kids and all that stuff. Okay. And so I guess this is where we could start talking about like frequencies type of thing. And this is real.
Right.
If your frequency is low, angry, pissed off, resentful, unprepared,
fear,
anxious, whatever, you are going to miss all of it, dude. Now, God might get through to you somehow and say, hey, bro, wake up. And then, all right, then you can snap out of it. Okay. But more than likely, all the good stuff that's going to come that's going to come through and prompt itself to you is going to be when you are aligned with all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So you do the work. Otherwise, then you do everything else better. Yeah. That's why like substances and stuff is not the answer. People can think it enhances you all you want, but it doesn't. I mean, look, I grew up in the bar business, bro. Like I was educated highly on my parents about what the industry is.
Yeah.
Okay. And granted, hey, look, there's a lot of people out there in the world who can do things in moderation and, recreationally and this and that and all, you know what? Great. But there are people out there who cannot.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for a guy like you, being in alignment's going to lead to more positive outcomes in every facet of your life.
Right.
It's me, dude. The more I'm aligned with what I want to do, everything else starts opening up.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you'd told me 2 years ago that I would be, running this team, I would have I would be like, I've never managed before.
It's crazy listening to you. This is why I'm thankful for this podcast. I don't even care if one person ever listens.
Yeah.
But like because the conversation, but like just listening to you, the competency that's happened to you. Because I've watched you since you were a kid, and now you got these words and this coaching voice is coming to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's pretty special, and it's because you've shown diligence to a process for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Diligence, series of correct choices, and your coaching voice has come alive. Don't you think?
I totally agree.
The coaching voice changes too. It's weird. My coaching voice is changing. My coaching voice with my kid, my 7-year-old, not even the same thing than it was with Bodie.
Oh yeah.
My coaching voice, I think, is becoming more meek, lowly, a little more, and I think that ties in with ego. My ego's slowing down a little bit,
Yeah.
Do you think, would you consider yourself insecure?
Actually, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Remember, insecure is not a bad thing. Like I think my insecurities have fueled me to go harder than most because I never feel like I do good enough.
Let me
like insecure.
I'm gonna go. I think this will answer your question. I'm gonna say I'm not sure. So tell me what this means.
Yeah.
Okay. Because every day is a healthy balance of two things for me. I am simultaneously chasing after what I want and where I want to go.
Right.
And I'm simultaneously running away from what I know could be.
Yeah.
So maybe that is some type of insecurity.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I certainly don't want to regress into falling back into being, not training, not just being dialed in. Like we talk, let's just call it dialed in. So I'm afraid of not being dialed in, but I'm also, I would call it a 50-50 balance, chasing after where I'm going.
Yeah.
Because, I've had things happen in my life that have knocked me back, but I've also had things happen in my life that's given me confidence to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So I guess I try to override insecurity with security and confidence and action is what I try to do.
The reason you think of any successful people, anybody who's putting out a lot, like, I think about, for me, it's always, my books or, I got 2 master's degrees and what else, I create something and I try to put it out in the world and but it's similar to what you just said. You explained it beautifully, but there's always a fear that I'm not going to be making progress.
Right.
There's always that, like, if I'm not making progress, I'm not. And so for me, there is some insecurity for me that there's a lot of people that talk about this, like some of the most successful people, because they've gone so there's a lot of fear on this other side that says, dude, you're not doing enough. You got to do more. If you don't do this, what are people going to think? Like, and so then they go hard, but there is a lot of discontent because I'm always wondering, do I ever do enough? Is anything I'm putting out good? You know what I'm saying?
That I do agree with. Okay, but I don't, I've had talks with people that I know, and the bar business, like the bar industry, is like a melting pot of people, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I'm well-rounded in talking to people, because I talk to everybody. Yeah, businessmen, guys who like doing drugs a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just literally everyone in between, athletes, whatever. You know, and I've talked to people who have explained to me what I think insecurity is, and that's just like kind of self-doubt, you know, and I don't have any self-doubt. Right. I have things that I don't want to have happen to me that are under my control. So does that make sense? Yeah. So I think it is I have no problem admitting that it could potentially be like a level of insecurity, but it's not rooted in self-doubt at all, because the only reason why, I mean, Sam, I have to shout out Sam Hall for two things. Sam told me when we were like 17, Sam said, hey, you know, you can get better or worse every day. There is no static. Yeah. So I've always kind of taken that approach to life. Like, hey, I got to find out a way to get at least 1% better at something today. Right. Yeah. You know, just make sure I don't get worse at anything. But Sam a while back has also said to me, he goes, talking about me, he goes, I've never met someone who's done more with less. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just because like when you think back to 16-year-old me, this is a true story. I'm like 16, 17 years old, and there's that track behind the Ogden Athletic Club.
Yeah, I remember that.
Bro, you were dragging my out of shape ass around that thing. Like I, you know, it's not that I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be there. I wanted to do it. I wanted to be good at it. But like, it was going to take time. It was going to take conviction. It was going to take, you know, it was going to take learning from a guy like you, the necessary components of my mind to build it up and be armored up enough to be like, okay, I can do this. Yeah. You know, so like I said, athletically gifted, not really. I had some talent with baseball, all this other stuff, but like, and also I've got some great parents, as I've already mentioned. So Sam was kind of busting my balls a little bit by saying that I've never met someone who's done more with less, but he's not wrong exactly, because, you know, I wasn't overly athletically gifted. I was a little bit shy growing up. You know, I always knew I was smart enough to like speak and articulate like we talk about, but that's taken years and repetitions over time to be able to feel comfortable being who I am. So when I was younger, 100% I was insecure. Yeah. I put the work in now, in my opinion, to rid myself of those things, and that's objective.
The insecurity though helped you
100%, dude.
Compete and gain a competitive mindset. You know, people look at insecurity as a bad thing. I mean, it is if you let it, but like it also pushes a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, it
because they don't like how that feels and they're scared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, that was a hard one when Sam's dad died.
Bro, Mike, you know, Mike was one of the first. So, and I say this all the time, the Hall family and the Heward family are very responsible, and along with my own, meeting them is a huge part of my baseball life, my life in general, just my evolution, the forming my brain, basically. And Mike was a coach for a travel team of ours for a while, you know, and you know, Mike always called me Evie, and he'd always be like, "Oh, hey, you got it, Evie. You got it, Evie." You know, like he was always very supportive of me, you know. And I think even back when you know, it was not it was objective that, you know, Sam and Jack and Brian, they were ahead of where I was. You know, they were better hitters. They were, you know, when it was my turn to pitch, they knew what the deal was. But, you know, other than that, you know, Mike was always instilling confidence into me. Yeah. And I remember telling Alex and Sam at his services, you know, I just said, I just want you guys to know that, you know, stuff that Mike said to me back in the day, I never really told anybody about, but like, I can't tell you how much it means to me. And then years later, you know, Mike and I would end up in the sauna at the Ogden Athletic Club. And I mean, dude, I don't know if you ever got in a sauna with him, but I mean, I'm to the point, he's talking to me like normal, you know, I'm just in the sauna, just
dying.
dude, it's like 35 minutes in. I'm just like, I'm going to nod out talking to Mike, you know, but that like looking back, we had so many great conversations and you know, I know how Mike, or how much Mike was, you know, influenced Sam and Jack and Alex and those guys with baseball. And yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, bro.
He taught me a lot too. It's interesting. That dude helped me find God, Christ. He was one of the influential people that helped me get into the church.
Really?
Well, yeah. He's interesting, right? Like, I felt like Mike was a loose cannon without the church. If you really knew him, like and I liked his style with it. I don't know, like I talked with Mike Hall about like the gospel and the church more than anybody. Like no one like, and he was a loose cannon without it. And that's what I was like, damn, he uses it. He's not just like going to church on Sunday. He needs it.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about him. And I was like, so I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do the church. Like Mike does it. Another guy that did it is Kurt Boyer.
Yep.
Cade's dad and Kyle's dad. And he's a loose, like that dude be a loose cannon. I can say that he knows it, you know, like he would be if he didn't have the gospel and he uses it. And so like, that's why I was like, you know what, these dudes who I look up to, and I've known Mike since I was a kid. We grew up in the same neighborhood, so I knew, you know, Sam and Jack were always a lot younger than me, but they were like little kids, you know. But anyway, he was a guy that really helped me find Christ.
Yeah. And
deep conversations, like real conversations, not these on the surface. You know, so that was a hard one for me too. And he passed. He was my dad's best friend too. Like they grew up together. Mike was younger than my dad, like 2 or 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. So I think Mike kind of looked up to my dad growing up, but they grew up. But my dad said that when Mike was a kid, he was pretty wild.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and you know,
saying?
I mean, and Sam's showed me some pictures of him with some long hair and like a surfboard on a beach, and it's like, you know, he just and that's a perfect example of where I feel like, you know, the church, whatever denomination you decide to go, man. I mean, God is good for your life.
Right.
It's unequivocal. It's not, you know, I've never seen one person who believes, has faith, gets into it, you know, devotes himself to it, that doesn't have some type of positive kickback from it, you know? And I mean, that's a, you know, I heard this thing in an OCIA session, which is basically like, you know, leading up into getting into the Catholic Church and stuff. And so this was a while back, you know, and one guy said, he goes, you know, the door with God is only closed from one side.
Yeah.
And it's yours.
Right.
He goes, so when you open it, it's there. And to me, I believe that. Yeah. I 100% believe that. And, you know, God is, it's up for debate with some people for who he is and what he represents. But for me, I know what my beliefs are. And when I opened that door with God, you know, I mean, it actually started when I was about, it really, I talked about wearing the cross when I was younger, but it really started when I started doing daily prayer. Yeah. You know, and it really just started with me praying for my family's well-being. I was praying just, you know, dear God, please keep my family safe, keep everyone I love safe, keep me safe, you know, amen. You know, like that's like how literal basic it started. You know, and then I started to realize it made me feel better. And then I got more intentional with my prayer. Yeah. I talked to guys like you. I talked to, I've got a couple of good buddies who are missionaries, one who served in the Marshall Islands, you know, like just talking with them like, hey, how do I pray?
Yeah.
You know, like
Is this when you were a kid?
This was when I was younger. This is, 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And I started asking a lot of different people, hey, how do I pray? And then, my godfather now, who is one of the most renowned criminal defense attorneys in the history of Utah for sure. At one point I think he's regarded as the greatest criminal defense attorney in the US, Ron Yangich. He's my godfather. He's like a Renaissance man. That's a guy you need to meet. Really? That is a guy that would impress you. You would go like,
really?
Wow. I mean, just his level of knowledge. I mean, the guy can read and speak Latin. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Right.
Sat down with him and we really had a full open conversation. Like I explained literally every part of my prayer to him. And he was like, hey, I think you should open up your prayer with like thanking God first, as opposed to just like always like, not that I was always asking for things, but I always heard that you needed to be intentional with prayer.
Right.
And he was like, I think you should open up your prayer with thanking God. And that in itself changed I think it changed my frequency as I was praying. Like I was becoming more thankful and grateful, and the gratitude goes up. And then all of a sudden, all the things that I want to, intentionally pray about come out a lot easier.
Yeah, that's really good, bro. Another one is I usually close my prayer off with, please lead me into someone's life that I could be useful.
Sure.
Help me with these kids I'm working with. Help me to be a conduit, and be able to hear what you want me to tell people.
Yeah.
And use me as it talks about in the scriptures, being a fisher of men, Christ.
Yeah.
You're looking for people that you can help and give a message to. That's a cool story I had, bro. I was at Layton High. This was when I was teaching there and coaching, being a strength coach at Layton, my first couple of years in education. And in my morning prayers, it was like, please help me work with these kids and lead me to a kid that needs help, And then you step out of my truck and I go into the day and I really look for it.
Yeah.
I ask God to give me this.
Yeah.
To help me be useful to his other children.
Yeah.
I roll out this one day. So I'm in a bad mood. It's the end of the day. I want out of the building. I want to go home. And I walk past this kid. And what up, bro? And I'm walking out the doors and the prompting, it's like, you need to turn around and talk to that kid. And I was like, I don't want to talk to this kid. I don't feel like I've been talking to kids all day.
Yeah.
But then in my mind, I was like, but I asked God for this. I asked him in a prayer to give me this. And you're going to, here's your chance. So I turn around and I go up to the kid. And I never forget it. I look at him like, hey, bro, how you doing in your head? That's what I said, just straight at him. And he looks at me and he's like, bro, we sit down. We're right in this hallway. He wants to tell me that he was thinking about killing himself. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bro, so we sit there and talk, and I was like, then I created this relationship with him, and I was like, I walked out that day and I was like, damn, this is real. You know what I mean? If I'm really asking God to use me, and not that I haven't missed opportunities, but that was a good one. Wow. And that's you're working with young kids.
Yep.
You're a mentor. That's a good approach. That's something you could ask to your prayers on a daily basis. And then the intention comes from when you stand up from the prayer, and then you walk the day being a watcher for God. Might not happen that day. You don't know how. I mean, they're not as big as the one I just described. That's a massive spiritual experience that I had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I want to say that's a beautiful thing to add in. Because you have a big influence on people.
I mean, so I tell my players, especially, look, dude, there's a stigma, and I'm, I think we don't need to go down the mental health rabbit hole too much, you know, because we're already kind of talking about facets of it. But, you know, there's a lot of athletes nowadays that don't talk about how they feel.
Yeah.
I was one of them. You know, you're one of the only people I really talked to after I needed my elbow surgeries. I was struggling hard mentally. I was in some of the darkest places I've ever been. And you were one of the only people I felt like I could trust that would understand how I felt. I try to be that guy to my guys now. You know what I mean? And I had a player come in to me the other day. He would text me and goes, "Hey Skip, can I talk to you?" For those of you who don't know, in baseball, the head coach is called the manager. The manager, for whatever reason, dating back to whenever baseball originated, they called the manager the skipper. Yeah. You know, so everyone calls me Skip or E or, you know, EJ, EP, whatever. So, you know, he texts me and goes, "Hey, Skip, can I talk to you when you get to your office today?" And I said, "Yeah, hey, I'm on my way in." And this was a couple hours before anyone was going to be there. And he comes in, and I had done my prayer basically that day. And one thing that I was going to say is that, you know, in part of my prayer, one of the things I say is, you know, dear God, give me the strength, will, and guidance that I need to be the best man of God I can every single day.
Yeah.
You know, I want, that's all I can really, man of God, man of Christ. That's all I can do. Like I just got to try to be my best. I'm not going to be perfect. Like pull up to the traffic light and light turns green. And the car in front of you doesn't go. And you're like, the hell are we doing, man? Let's go. You know, it's like right there, I gotta, you know, like, so in those little moments. But point is that, you know, I'd done my prayer and stuff that morning, and then I look at my phone, which is blowing up all the time anyway. Yeah. I said, "Hey, come talk to me, man." And, you know, he comes in, and bro, he just, he couldn't have got 3 words out of his mouth, and he's already just, you know, pouring tears, you know. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And this is one of my like emotional leaders, like, you know, like if we were going to have a bench clearing brawl, you want this guy on your side, you know. But he was so, you know, this exterior was so built up, and he's like, you know, shit, man, my brother just got arrested back home, and you know, and this, and you know, the sickness in his family and all this stuff. And I'm just like, bro, like I'm here for you. I'm like, let's talk this out. What do you need to do? Do you need to go home? Do you need to? He's like, no. He's like, I want to be here. Like, if I leave here, I'm worried about, you know, where I'll be mentally. And I'm like, well, then you're not going to leave. I'm like, unless your family, I was like, if your family needs you, I was like, that's a different story, you know? But, and I've had these conversations with guys before, but I mean, this one was very real. I mean, you know, brother involved in drugs and some heavy stuff, you know, back on the, you know, kind of in the East. And so, and these guys are far away from home, bro. Like they don't have anybody, you know? Too, I mean, 25 in baseball, we think is like, you know, kind of, but these are just kids, bro. Yeah. You know? Yeah. You know, these are just kids. And so,
bro, and involved in a sport that is very hard mentally on people because of how much you fail.
It's a failure-based sport, homie. Yeah. I mean, dude, you as a hitter, as good as you are, Hawk will never tell you this, but you are one of the best players that's ever come out of this area. You are. Thank you. It's it's objective. I got no problem saying it. I'm one of the best players that's ever came out of this area. You know what? And it's our duty to help. That's why I train guys in the off season, is because it's not how good or how smart I think I am. I learned from guys like you. I learned from guys like your dad. I learned from Jeremy Lambert, who pitched in the big leagues. I learned from Les Lancaster, who pitched in the big leagues. Like, I've learned from these great mentors. Like, I'm literally doing the wrong thing by not portraying this information to you know, younger kids or whatever. But I mean, they're literally just kids, man. Yeah. You know, and when they know that you, like, if guys come in your gym and they believe in you and they believe in your program and they know that you've got their back and you'll hold them accountable, there's no way you won't get a positive result or,
Yeah.
or help them in some way. And I always tell my guys that I'm like, hey, look, dude, even if my office door is closed, it's open. If you need something, you come talk to me.
Yeah.
If you think I'm perfect, like you should see some of the shit I've been through. You should see some of the stuff I've done. Like I come in my office, I'd be happy to tell you some of my, and then once you kind of open up about that, they level with you and they understand, oh man, this guy's been through it, and I think, you're dealing with people who need your guidance to live life, right? I'm dealing with guys who, for the most part, none of my guys are dealing, with, at least not to my knowledge, no substance, no nothing like that. But it's like, dude, the mental grind, that baseball brings on is so difficult. And going back to what I was saying, you being one of the best players, you still failed more as a hitter than you ever succeeded.
Yeah.
How frustrating is that?
Yeah, it's
wild.
wild.
I've got the best player in the league right now on my team, and it's like, he hits a 105-mile-per-hour line drive right to the center fielder last night, and I'm like, what are you going to do about it? Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, it's the Barry Bonds type thing. It's you versus the pitcher. If you hit it hard off of him, you won.
Yeah.
If you get out, you get out.
Yeah.
But it's like these guys get so frustrated from at bat to at bat, and I'm just like, dude,
This is baseball.
it's baseball.
That's
bro.
why people make so much money.
Yeah.
You brought up something that made me think. So this last relapse was hard. Just because I felt like, and I'm just getting more secure. It's coming up on a year. I've never been so insecure this last year ever in my life,
Hey, I just let me ask you before you get into it. What set it off? What?
I just was going through the gas station over at Sinclair to get a 5-hour energy.
Yeah.
On a Saturday afternoon I was going to read, and then I was going to the gym to train. That's my normal routine, get a 5-hour energy, go to the cemetery, study, do some reading, and then go train. It's like Saturday afternoon, and this dude's like, hey bro, I got a new energy drink. It's way better. And so he gives it to me for free, and I don't look at it. I look at it. It said, feel free, look cool, look freaking healthy. So I just grab it, bro, and just chug it. And nasty. And so but part of me was like, this is probably healthy. It tastes like crap,
Yeah.
It's like a half hour later, it's like I was just being hugged by God. It was like, it's so good. Like 2 Percocet 10s.
Wow.
That's what it felt like. And I look at it, and it's Kratom, and I knew what Kratom was because people come through here. I mean, he was a Kratom. Most opiate addicts, it lights up the same receptors.
I've heard this.
I've
never.
You don't need to. You do not try it.
No, I'd never messed with
it. So then I was like, well, I went home and told Autumn that night. I was like, damn, I drank a drink that wasn't good today. And she's like, it was easy to justify. It's in the gas station.
Yeah.
So then the next day, I was teaching church. I was teaching an elders quorum. And I was driving down to the church, and I was like, damn, I'm going to go get one of those for teach enhance. Remember I talk about?
Yeah.
Go down, get one, teach the best lesson. I feel like just amazing, just feel so euphoric and like you would on Percocets. And then, I don't know, within a week and a half, I'm doing 10 a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude.
Like just freaking chasing them. Like, dude, going to all day long, 10. $10 a piece. So it's $100 a day. Like,
wow.
So then I started going into detox. You got to detox from them. So they make you sick, physically sick, can't sleep. You're grinding. Your legs are all over the place. You're like worst thing ever.
Yeah. So
I leave over spring break, go to detox, and then just come out, do okay, relapse. Kratom again, 10. Back into I went in and out of detox 4 times that summer.
Yeah.
From April to September, that period I was just get some time, relapse, back into detox for 3 days, and then I finally ended up going to rehab and had to take a leave of absence at the school district. But, and I got fired from here. So like, the board of directors, and they had to do it. You know what I mean? I wasn't at the time, like was mad at Frank. But now it's like, dude, they had to wake me up. I couldn't, like, if you have to get to a point where things are so bad that you're like, all right, dude. Like, and then when I went to rehab, honestly, and I saw my little girl, she was crying, and my little boy, Miss Bodie's birthday, and I was like, I can't, this is it. I can't. So anyway, but what made me think of this is because it's been a hard year, and I'm thinking, then that's really why I started this podcast with me and him, is just so we could talk. I mean, we're putting, if people listen, we do have a lot of people listen to it, but like, I need this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's part of my recovery, just to talk. And I was thinking, a guy called me yesterday and he was asking about his brother. He has a brother who's a professional, made a lot of money, but strung it along, hangs out with a lot of wealthy, powerful people. But his life has just become a mess, and he won't admit that he's powerless. Right. And he was like, Hawk, I think he'll listen to you because you've been to, you're fresh too. Like, you just got out of rehab. Like, you're not perfect. You're a professional. You've had a gym, and you've just laid it out and told everybody, and you're okay. And it made me feel good. I was like, man, like, it's kind of made like this kind of make like I can relate with people more. Like, maybe it's gonna be this relapse. I don't have to feel so insecure about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, where, like, it's all right. It's another experience, and I'm be careful not to justify it, because I'm still not out of the weeds with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, with having that substance on the shelf of a gas station now, my drug of choice, which was opiates, Percocets, pills, and those resemble those.
Yeah.
I don't have to go around to a doctor anymore. I don't got to go lie to a doctor or go meet a weird drug dealer. Like, I could leave here right now and go get my drug of choice. No breaking the law, no weird anything. I can't get fired because of it. I mean, from here I can, but it's not like at the school. You know what I'm saying? That's not.
This is similar to what you talked about when I was training up at your place. Really bad alcoholic dude came through, and he was on some other stuff too. He was the guy that lived outside the trailer of the place for a while at the old war gym.
Oh yeah,
you remember him?
Is that the dude that robbed you?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That dude with the tats on his arm and stuff like that.
Did he live there just for a little while?
Yes.
Yeah. He robbed me.
Okay. Point is that we were talking about, you're like, look, bro, it's hard to get a guy clean, a day or two off of, meth or the needle or, whatever. But you were like, alcohol is one of the hardest ones, because you can go to Sinclair, because Sinclair was on the war loop.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, he could literally go to that Sinclair, like, when I'm not around and get a fix.
Yeah.
And it's essentially it's kind of the same type of thing.
No,
like,
it really
like
is.
It's so accessible that it's not, you can go to the bar, bro. You can go to the bar and get a drink.
Yeah.
But
it's not illegal.
No.
Yeah.
So I think that that battle in and of itself would make it so difficult. You know what I mean? Just because you could go get it at any time.
Dude.
Every day seeing that shit.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
Pulls on me every day. I thought on my way here. No.
Yep.
I mean, pulls on. It's completely different thing for me now. The addiction. And the one thing is I always thought I could smoke weed sometimes. You know, I could take, on my anniversary, I could have a drink with Autumn, you know. These thoughts would come like I could. Like little back doors open, you know. When I go to Wichita, maybe I'll smoke a bunch of cigarettes and party with my boys because I haven't seen them. You know, these thoughts like that still, but they're really, those really can't be there anymore. I can't entertain those because I know for a fact that if I went out and partied with my friends or one night of drinking or whatever, that if my mood dips the next day because of that substance, I will go straight to I'm already dealing with a moody mind.
Yeah.
If I go up and then come down and I can go get that, I'm going to go get that. And then I know that I can't stop. I cannot stop once I start taking it.
Yeah.
God, it's just pain in the ass.
I mean, look,
You know what
I watched a, you know, like I said, I love watching, like on Instagram, I follow like kind of like these rock archives, and it's got old music videos and old interviews of musicians, and David Bowie was on there, and you know, and they had asked him something about his sobriety, and basically his answer was, "Oh no, I'm completely dry. Like if I have one sip
of anything,
it's a death sentence."
Yeah,
he goes, "It's a death sentence." He goes, "Because I've worked so hard to regain the trust of the people around me. I've worked so hard to, you know, get my life straight." He goes, "I know myself well enough that if I do one thing of anything, it's going to lead to everything."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you see that with a lot of people, especially in music. And I'm sure you know that. I mean, so many musicians are just stone cold sober.
Have you ever heard Aerosmith talk about it?
Oh, dude, Steven Tyler, I mean,
he's like, yeah, if I start on anything, I lose my friends. I get kicked out of my band. I get like it's. You should look that up, dude. It's one of the best things I've seen on it, dude. He's just like, I can't touch anything because I lose my. The funniest for me was when he's like, I get kicked out of my band.
Yeah. It's
my own band.
Yeah.
No joke.
I think that was on Howard Stern. I think I saw the same interview, but it's similar with you, bro, because this is, and I don't, there's two things I'm going to say, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but you have one of the most addictive personalities I've ever met. Okay. Which has given me a chance to learn from you because you've got the ins and the outs of like hearing you talk to people. Like I used to sit in on your whiteboard classes, and I used to go in that classroom and just listen. You know, you just be like, "Hey, just come out. You know, come hang out or whatever." But like people like that need you. Right. They need someone like you to be able to listen to. That's not up for debate. You know what I mean? Right. Like. You're not going to listen to the lady, and no disrespect, and it has nothing to do with man, woman, or the other. The point is that someone's got to be able to see themselves in you. Right. You know what I mean? And like when my players look at me, granted, I'm not helping them try to not, you know, use substances that are either going to ruin their life or kill them, but they've got to be able to look at me and say, "Hey, I trust this guy because I can see a level of humility. I can see a level of like experience, like been in your shoes type of thing." Yeah. You know what I mean? So like when I talk to these guys who have had surgery, and I'm just like, "Look, dude, like those painkillers that you get, like all that stuff that you get to, you know, like that you need to make sure you have a plan to get out." Right. You know, because this is, I watched it with guys that I played with, man. Yeah. You know, guys can't get away from it. Yeah. And, you know, I just thank God that, you know, look, I already said it. I put way too much. And I mean, I'm talking I mean, dude, I used to take, you know, like 6 or 8 ibuprofen and just, you know, it made my arm feel good for 25 minutes and let me go pitch.
That's actually the worst drug for you. Like when you do those ibuprofen in high doses.
Oh yeah, dude. It's so bad.
Or what was it was Tylenol.
Yeah.
Tylenol was like shut down your kidneys.
Yeah, dude. So bad for your like your intestinal lining and just like your filtering systems and stuff. And so like I don't know, man. I always try to talk to people about it. I've got a guy right now that's probably going to have an elbow surgery, clean up in the off season. And that was one of the things I talked to him about is I just said, hey, look, because for a while, bro, I mean, they took in my second Tommy John, my third surgery, they took my gracilis, which is right along your hamstring. So they cut me at my knee and literally like fish hooked all the way up my leg to like my ass cheek and took a graft of my next to my hamstring about that big.
That is wild.
And then put it in my elbow.
Whoa.
Wow.
So 20 hours later, I'm supposed to stay in Denver, right? 20 hours later, I'm supposed to I'm supposed to stay in Denver for 2 days, but 20 hours later, I'm in this hotel room and I feel like I'm in like a hunter, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, dude. I'm just like, I've got to get the hell out of this hotel room. So I just literally book a flight and fly home. I'm on crutches. I'm freshly out of surgery. And that's like the worst pain I've ever been in my entire life.
Did you ever get wrapped up? Did you ever like, because of taking the pills, did they ever cause you to suffer? Did you have to take the pills or did you never take the pills?
So this is where I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
I had to take them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, I was in so much pain. I mean, holes drilled in both of my, in the bones here to attach the tendon. And then, I'm stitched at my knee and my ass, basically.
Damn.
And so, dude, I'm like walking through Denver airport because I had the Rocky surgeon do it. So I've got to get back here. And that, to me, like for those 3 days, I mean, I would wake up like wincing. Like, dude, I've sat through like a 10-hour tattoo appointment. So, I mean, my pain tolerance is pretty good. But I mean, like when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like literally wincing, like tearing up at the eyes, I'm in so much pain. That is when, to me, it's the only time it's justified to take something that strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even then, when you're not in that much pain, you better have a way to get out. Because if you don't, dude, and I'm not going to name any names, but let's look at some of these guys that I came out of high school with who were like athletes. You would have never seen it coming with some of these guys. And honestly, I bet he's okay with me mentioning it, but Cord is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Cord to me was one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life. If you would have lined him up with 100 dudes, I would have never picked him to run into problems. But it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate, and so, I just think it's so important because that stuff it's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a literal trap, dude.
For sure.
And rest in peace, one of my buddies, Preston Stosky, one of the smartest dudes I ever met, but he was kind of in that group of guys that, started dabbling, I think, with pills and stuff, and then, they didn't get it anymore and moved on to
heroin,
moved into some harder stuff, and it's just it's brutal, man.
We lose. It's wild, bro. Like, so the longer this place stays open, the more people, the more funerals you attend, because it's like I don't know, like at least. I think I don't know. I think we lost 2 people this year. The year before was like, or the year before, we lost like 4.
Wow.
Because people come and go. They come in, do well, and then they'll go, and then they go back out, or they whatever happens, and then we just had a girl who was in the program, and that we've lost more people to alcohol than anything.
Wow.
They die. The alcohol death is the gnarliest thing I've ever seen. When their body goes septic and they start having seizures, and their body shuts down. So you watch them. They move them. They'll even be moved into a nursing home for a while, and then like they go on life support, and it's just. You know what I mean? It's wild.
So
it's not quick like it would be like an overdose with heroin or something,
No, bro, this is my full name is Evan Jack Parker. Jack is my dad's younger brother, and he died from drinking like in his mid 40s.
Yeah.
And it it was, to me, probably the most egregious, I mean, I'm talking handles of vodka a day, but had a very, very high ranking job in downtown Denver. I mean, he
those are the worst addicts. The ones that are the functioning.
Yeah. And I mean, bro,
Wild.
liver failure, GI bleed, just the alcohol, as you said, is the worst. We had a cook that worked for us who, bro, he was like 30 something. And and it happens to him. I'm just like, how much do you have to be drinking to how? And I actually asked this to a girl that knew him. I'm just like, how much pain do you have to be in to drink that much?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I always think about with these people. And so, it's sad, but bro, you're doing God's work, in my opinion. So
are you.
You are. I actually still have, from when I came back and pitched in the game that the first game I pitched in after like 5 or 6 years, I've still got I don't think I gave it to you already, but it's the Raptors made a print and I signed it and gave it to you. And if I haven't given it to you, I'll give it to you. But it says
we need to put it up in here.
It says, "To Hawk, you are on my round. You are on my Mount Rushmore. Love you."
Wow.
Because to me,
thank you, bro.
To me, I've got, obviously my parents that we'll have to put 5 faces up there. We'll put my parents. We're going to put my 2 college head coaches who were instrumental in me developing as an athlete, developing as a player, and then ultimately going pro, and then you. And that's the honest to God truth,
Thank
dude.
you,
because I mean, I don't have the mindset of everyday life if I don't get in your gym and look, bro, it's armor.
Yeah.
It's armor for life. Life is not designed to be just, easy all the time. There's going to be adversity.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, I look back on some of those old war gym sessions, whether I was with you and the guys and that, and I was looking at some of the crew that was there when we were there. But, I mean, dude, I flat out just learned how to be tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
I just learned how to be
It
tough.
was a special time. I'm thankful for it too.
Yeah.
Like, probably can end there, man.
Yeah. No, dude, I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you saying that stuff and for who you become, because you helped me today.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Your coaching voices. You're doing some good things, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Do you pray with your kids?
Yeah. So actually,
that's the last thing I wanted to say.
Yeah. So we had actually had a family friend who we knew was going to pass. And, I was chilling with my kids and I said, Hey, we should say a prayer for him.
Yeah.
And I kept it light and, just, you know, hey, please, you know,
speak at their level.
Yeah. Please protect them and make them feel safe and and all this stuff and and I it was really just Lennon. Halen, my youngest one's only 2, so she's a little bouncing off the walls still a little bit. But Lennon and I got together and I said, all right, can you say amen? Amen, and we did it, and it was awesome, dude. So
because then you're showing your kids that coping skill. So for some reason, you at a young age found the coping skill and you felt protected with that cross so you want to teach them that, your kids that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it's the way I look at it with my kids. I'm like, I got to teach them what helps me.
Right.
I don't. It's not every night. If we're all hanging out and it's like night, I'll be like the prompting. I'll be like, let's have a quick prayer, quick family prayer.
Right.
And I'll usually say it, and I speak at their level. I don't get too. It's not too long. I don't.
Yep.
And then another one I'll do is like Wiley. He's 7, and I did this with all my kids. But like, I'll roll into his room, and I'll be like, bro, let's say a quick prayer, and I'll be like. Dear Heavenly Father, and I'll build Wiley up through the prayer. I'll be like, thank you for Wiley. He's such a good kid. You know, help him to be a good friend with the kids at school. And we're just thankful that he's in our little family. And you know what I mean? And I'll just kind of talk to him and like make it funny, and I'm poking him, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That might be something you want to do with your, that's been a good thing for me. And it doesn't always work out. Like there's a lot of people who bring prayer into their home and they're rigid. They're like 10 o'clock and they have a family prayer. That's not the way I play it. No. I play it if it's like kind of works out. And then I don't do that every night with Wiley. I know him and Autumn will do it sometimes, but it's just been a good thing to work into my home. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. And they notice all the crosses on me. So, you know, I'm wearing my cross here, here. I got a cross here. My stomach is my whole stomach is the Rock of Ages from the Bible.
Yeah, that's sick.
And so
I remember when you told me you weren't going to get any more. I remember at one point you told me you were just going to do your one arm.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm gonna probably change that up. I think I'm gonna go a little hard on this.
So, bro, you look so cool, bro.
I appreciate it, man. But yeah, so you know, in Catholicism, you know, in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. So the cross. So I've told them what it means. You know, I've explained Jesus. I've explained you know all this other stuff, and at the house, we have this cross that my dad gave us that he's had since the 50s or 60s. And it says, you know, Enray at the top, which has, you know, it basically stands for Jesus, you know, King of, you know, Nazareth, all this stuff. And so I explain it to him, and, you know, I just try to let them know that God and Jesus is good, and just really kind of baseline stuff at this point. I'm not trying to evangelize them, you know, yet. You know what I'm you know what I'm saying? So
it's got to be simple.
But they love it. Yeah. And you know, my godfather, who is an usher at the Cathedral of the Madeleine down in Salt Lake. I don't know if you've ever been there. I would just say I mean like I'm not LDS, and I love the temple. Like it's just beautiful. Like to see that in the backdrop of our stadium. Lennon calls it the castle. You know what I mean? She's like, look, the castle, you know, and it's like, but if you ever get a chance to see that cathedral, I mean, it's a house of God. You know what I mean? And in my I can talk to anybody who's a brother of God to me. I don't care. And you know what? I talk to people who don't believe in God. And if you have, I will respect your beliefs.
For sure.
You respect mine, I'll respect yours. We're good. You know what I mean? But he's an usher, my godfather at the cathedral, and he got these little, you know, they have a store in the basement, and he bought him these little Catholic dolls, and I gave them to him, and they love playing with them and stuff. So we're bringing them into it, and it's good, man. I mean, they like I said, they're the sunshine of my life, and
that's dope, bro.
But dude, I appreciate you so much for having me on. You know, I love you, and you
love
know
you too, bro.
You know what I said. You know, I meant everything I said. So
me too, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, bro.
Rightly, thanks, bro.